Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Matthew Ona. 119, College of Business. Currently taking up business management. Graduated from Assault Green Hills, batch 2019. Former SICB president, grade 11 batch representative, grade 10 batch representative, and a lot more. So now I'm just doing my thing, and yeah, this is my story.
How do you define a person with a zeal for service?
You know, it's funny because I feel like zeal for service, it's something we hear every day, especially the Solians, Faith Service Communion. Zeal for service plays a big role in FSC. But for me, my personal definition for it is someone who grows by letting other people grow with him or her. Now, when you hear, because when you hear service, when you hear zeal for service, you think of a lot of things. You think of people who do reach outs, you think of drives, the nation drives, things like that. But for me personally, zeal for service is just simply growing while also bringing other people up with you. And I want to put emphasis that zeal for service, it doesn't have to be extraordinary. The way I see it, it's the everyday things that we count. The small acts of kindness, the things in between the big things. Things like saying good morning, asking the kuya how he is, holding the door for the next person in line, things like that. It's the small things that really show your zeal for service, because at the end of the day, it's not the big things, it's the small things that accumulate that really make a difference.
What are some of the organizations or immersions you participated in?
Well, for one, back in high school, I was really active as a servant leader. I was in position for 3 years. So with that, I was actually, how do you say it? I had to, not had to, but I was given the opportunity to serve a lot of times to the less fortunate. There were a lot of coastal cleanups. There were coastal cleanups along in Bataan. Then there were like donation drives, things like that. All the projects that I was offered to do, all the projects that I was willing to do. But I think the thing that really struck me the most was when I was no longer a servant leader. There were things that I chose to do out of my own initiative that I really felt like I was really giving back to the community. Fun fact, I actually have it here. One of my newfound passions is baking. So I have actually cookies and brownies here. What I did actually for Valentine's Day was, I actually went all the way to Taal. Because my home province is Batangas. I went to Taal, Batangas. Then I went to the evacuation center. Then I gave them brownies. Like my family went to give them clothes, materials, things like that. But me personally, yung ambag ko was I baked brownies for them. I baked over 100, I think around 130, around 140. And like seeing the smile on the kids' faces when they get brownies from me and seeing them come back for more, seeing them bring their friends to get, I feel like it's the stuff like that, the things you do out of your own initiative, the things that you do by yourself. I feel like that's really the stuff that gets me in the end. So yeah.
When did you realize that this was your vocation, and how did Jesus or the Lord play a role in this journey?
Fun fact, so my lesson right now in Lclsone word is actually vocation. And just recently I learned that vocation, it's literally defined as the calling of God. But the thing that really struck me was that our professor told us that finding your vocation is something that happens every day. You find it every day in the things you love doing, because it's not just one thing set for the rest of your life. Every day you can redefine what you like to do. So with that, I realized for the past few years that before I actually do something, or before I commit to something, I always ask myself, does the world need more of this? Does the world need more of people like me? So that's something I like to ask myself. And in relation with that, you ask me, what role did Jesus play in this? Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. There are times where I lash out. There are times where I get impatient. There are times where I know I didn't choose the better path. And when you're struck with a situation like that, when I'm struck with a situation like that, what I personally like to do is, I like to consult the Bible. I like to consult my favorite verse actually, Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11. It's a very famous verse. I'm not gonna say it, but it's stuff like that. I like to consult the Bible for guidance, and I always like to go back to the main reason why we do things. Jesus Christ.
If you were to be in a position of power, what would your main focus be within the community and why?
I think if I were in a position of power, somewhere in like politics, I personally think that it might be cliche, but I think the thing I would focus on is most definitely education. I know it sounds like a stereotypical answer, but my reason is very, how do you say it? I just feel like education is the number one equalizer. I feel like whether you're rich or poor, it won't really matter as long as you're given the proper education. The way I see it, you see, is I feel like education is the key to opportunities in life. And I feel like the fact that a lot of people don't get this type of education, they're also robbed of a lot of opportunities. So the way I see it is giving everybody the same opportunities through giving them a proper education. And if you can't give them proper education, then you give them more opportunities. Simple as that. So you give people avenues to help out, to help themselves grow, and yeah.
How do you think being in DLSU can help you flourish and work towards your vocation?
For one, other than obviously the education we get from here, I personally see it as soon as we entered college, I immediately thought that this is the real world now. We're no longer playing around like we were in high school. From the moment we entered college, or from the moment we graduated high school, I knew to myself that if there's one thing we should do, it's to leave something behind in this world. It's to make a change in what we can make a change in. So the way I see it is, it doesn't really matter if it's just a college in order to pursue our vocation. The way I see it is, no matter what place you're put in, you can still pursue your passions no matter what. So the way I see it in relation with Zeal for Service, like look around you, ask yourself here in DLSU, how can I make this community a better place? Whether it be with your block, whether it be with your class, you ask yourself, what does this place need? What do these people need? What more can I do? Because at the end of the day, as I said earlier, you ask yourself, does the world need more of you? And I'm certainly sure it does. So with that, you do what you can, any way you can here in the community.